take a moment to slow down. Wherever you are right now, you are safe in God's presence. Saint Jude Thaddeus. Today we come confused, not lost entirely, but unsure. Unsure of direction, unsure of timing, unsure of what comes next. Some confusion arrives suddenly, a decision we did not expect, a change we did not plan, a question that disrupted what felt settled. Other confusion grows slowly, built from mixed signals, conflicting advice, paths that all seem possible and yet uncertain. Saint Jude, you understand confusion that unsettles the heart. Confusion that clouds judgment. Confusion that makes us hesitate. Confusion that leaves us second-guessing ourselves. Today, we do not ask for perfect clarity. We ask for guidance. Guidance that steadies us. Guidance that does not overwhelm us. Guidance that meets us right where we are. Saint Jude, confusion has a way of making us doubt ourselves. It makes us question past decisions. It makes us replay conversations. It makes us wonder if we misunderstood God's leading. Sit with us in this uncertainty. Do not rush us toward answers. Help us breathe inside the not knowing. Saint Jude, we bring you the choices before us. The paths that diverge. The options that carry risk. The decisions that feel heavier than we expected. We are afraid of choosing wrongly. Afraid of missing something important. Afraid of closing doors we cannot reopen. Hold these fears gently. Do not let them paralyze us. Help us approach decisions with trust rather than panic. Saint Jude, confusion often tempts us to seek certainty at all costs, to demand clear signs, to wait for guarantees, to postpone movement until everything feels sure. Teach us that guidance often unfolds gradually, that clarity can come step by step, that God does not require us to see the whole road before walking it. Saint Jude, we bring you the noise around us, voices offering advice, opinions pulling us in different directions, expectations pressing upon us. Quiet the noise. Help us discern what matters. Help us recognize which voices lead us toward peace. Saint Jude, confusion can feel isolating. It makes us believe everyone else knows what they are doing. It convinces us we are behind. It tells us we should have figured this out by now. Break this illusion. Remind us that confusion is part of discernment, that uncertainty does not mean failure, that questioning can lead us deeper into trust. Saint Jude, we ask for wisdom, not clever solutions, not quick fixes, but wisdom that listens, wisdom that waits, wisdom that recognizes God's timing. Help us learn how to sit with questions, how to hold tension without rushing resolution, how to remain faithful even when answers delay. Saint Jude, we bring you our fear of stagnation, fear that pausing means we are falling behind, fear that waiting means we are doing something wrong, fear that confusion will last forever. Hold us steady. Help us trust that waiting can be purposeful, that confusion can refine us, that God is working even when direction feels unclear. Saint Jude, teach us how to listen inwardly, to notice what brings peace, to recognize what stirs anxiety, to discern the difference between restlessness and conviction. Help us trust the quiet nudges. Help us respect the gentle hesitations. Help us move with attentiveness. Saint Jude, walk with us through this fog, not dragging us forward, but beside us. Help us take the next small step with trust. Even if the path beyond it remains hidden, we remain here, still questioning, still listening, still trusting that guidance will come. Saint Jude Thaddeus, we continue within this uncertainty. Confusion does not leave quickly. It lingers. It follows us from one thought to the next, from one decision to another. Saint Jude, confusion often makes us restless. We want to resolve it. We want to escape it. We want to move past it as quickly as possible. But teach us that confusion can be a teacher, that it invites us to slow down, that it asks us to listen more closely. Saint Jude, we bring you the questions that repeat, questions that return no matter how many times we consider them, questions that surface late at night, questions that interrupt our peace. Hold these questions. Do not let them overwhelm us. Help us trust that unanswered questions are not ignored by God. Saint Jude, confusion can make us doubt our own instincts. It makes us second-guess what once felt clear. It makes us fear we have lost our way. Remind us that clarity can fade without direction being lost, that God's guidance does not disappear because we feel unsure. Saint Jude, we bring you the fear of choosing wrong, the fear of regret, the fear of consequences we cannot undo. Help us remember that God's mercy is wider than our mistakes, that God can work even through imperfect choices, that we are not abandoned if we stumble. Saint Jude, confusion often tempts us to look outside ourselves for constant reassurance, to seek opinions endlessly, to compare paths, to measure ourselves against others. Help us return inward. Help us notice what brings calm. Help us recognize what feels forced. Help us trust the peace that remains after prayer. Saint Jude, teach us discernment. Discernment that is patient. Discernment that is attentive. Discernment that grows through relationship with God. Help us understand that guidance is not always dramatic. That clarity often whispers. That direction can come quietly. Saint Jude, we bring you the moments confusion makes us feel small. Moments we feel inadequate. Moments we fear we are not wise enough. Moments we wonder why this feels so hard. Hold us in these moments. Remind us that seeking guidance is not weakness. That uncertainty can be an act of humility. That asking opens us to grace. Saint Jude, confusion sometimes leads to paralysis. We stop moving. We stop deciding. We wait for certainty that never arrives. Help us move even when clarity is partial. Help us trust that God meets us in motion. Help us take the next faithful step without seeing the whole path. Saint Jude, we bring you the pressure of time. Deadlines approaching. Expectations waiting. Moments that feel urgent. Slow us down when urgency clouds wisdom. Help us distinguish between haste and obedience, between pressure and calling. Saint Jude, teach us to sit with complexity, to accept that not everything is simple, to hold competing desires without forcing resolution, to trust God in the middle. Saint Jude, we ask for inner steadiness, a calm heart, a listening spirit, a patient mind. Help us recognize when anxiety speaks instead of truth. Help us return to prayer when confusion grows loud. Saint Jude, walk with us through this maze, not pointing hurriedly, not pulling us forward, but staying close as we learn how to discern. We remain here, still uncertain, still attentive, still trusting that guidance unfolds in time. Saint Jude Thaddeus, we continue into the deeper layers of this confusion. Confusion that does not announce itself. Confusion that hides behind busyness. Confusion that pretends everything is fine while questions remain unanswered. Saint Jude, confusion often makes us impatient with ourselves. We wonder why clarity has not come. We judge ourselves for not knowing. We feel pressure to be decisive before we feel ready. Release us from this pressure. Remind us that discernment takes time, that wisdom is not rushed, that God is not hurried by our timelines. Saint Jude, we bring you the moments we feel torn, pulled between options, pulled between responsibilities, pulled between desire and obligation. Help us notice where our hearts feel heavy. Help us recognize where peace quietly rests. Help us listen to what endures after the noise fades. Saint Jude, confusion sometimes reveals what we truly value. It exposes priorities. It surfaces attachments. It shows us where fear has influence. Help us see clearly what we are holding on to. Help us release what no longer serves our growth. Help us trust that letting go creates space for guidance. Saint Jude, we bring you the moments we stalled, the times we delayed out of fear, the times we avoided decisions, the times we waited for certainty instead of trust. Do not condemn us for these moments. Help us learn from them. Help us move forward without shame. Saint Jude, teach us to discern between clarity and control, between trusting God and demanding certainty, between listening and overanalyzing. Quiet the urge to overthink. Help us rest in prayerful attention. Saint Jude, confusion can feel lonely. It makes us feel separate, as if everyone else has direction except us. Remind us that confusion is shared, that many walk this same uncertain road, that seeking guidance is part of faithful living. Saint Jude, we ask for humility, the humility to admit we do not know, the humility to ask for help, the humility to wait when waiting is required. Help us remain teachable. Help us stay open. Help us resist the urge to appear confident when we are unsure. Saint Jude, we bring you the longing for clarity, not dramatic answers, not sudden revelations, but a sense of direction that feels aligned. Help us trust that alignment grows through faithfulness, through prayer, through attentiveness. Saint Jude, teach us to listen to our lives, to notice patterns, to observe what gives life, to discern what drains us. Help us recognize God's guidance woven into daily experience. Saint Jude, confusion often tests patience. It stretches endurance. It demands trust without reward. Strengthen our patience. Help us wait without resentment. Help us remain engaged without forcing outcomes. Saint Jude, walk with us through unresolved questions. Stay near when answers delay. Help us trust that clarity will come when needed. Not sooner, not later, but in God's time. We remain here, still discerning, still listening, still trusting that guidance is unfolding. Saint Jude Thaddeus, we come now to the quiet end of this prayer, not because confusion has disappeared, not because answers have suddenly appeared, but because we have stayed present, stayed honest, stayed open before God. Saint Jude, help us recognize what this confusion has taught us, that clarity is not always immediate, that direction is sometimes discovered only in hindsight, that trust often grows before understanding. Saint Jude, we release the urgency to resolve everything. We loosen our grip on outcomes. We surrender the pressure to be certain. We accept that some answers will come later. Saint Jude, we place before God the decisions still ahead, the choices waiting for our courage, the paths still unfolding, the questions still unanswered. Hold these gently. Help us carry them with patience. Help us walk forward with humility. Help us trust that God guides those who listen. Saint Jude, teach us to recognize peace when it arrives quietly, not as excitement, not as certainty, but as steadiness, a calm that remains even when questions linger. Help us follow that peace. Help us respect the pace at which it grows. Saint Jude, we ask for faith that does not depend on clarity, faith that trusts even when unsure, faith that acts without full vision, faith that rests in God's care. Saint Jude, as we step away from this prayer, we do not leave confusion behind. We carry it differently, with less fear, with more trust, with openness to guidance. Walk with us as we return to daily life, into conversations, into decisions, into waiting. Remind us that we are not alone in discernment. that God walks with us step by step, that guidance unfolds as we remain faithful. Saint Jude Thaddeus, thank you for accompanying us in uncertainty, for staying near when clarity felt distant, for reminding us that God's presence is enough for this moment. We entrust everything that remains unclear to God, the questions, the choices, the future. And we go forward not knowing everything, but trusting. Amen.